Hi, welcome to Tender Truths. I am Jody, and I am so glad you are here with me today. I wanted to share a little bit with you before we get started. I began this journey out of grief and pain, and somewhere along the way, I learned how to turn that grief into lyrics and songs. From there, I discovered shorts, and I guess in a way, I have become what I would call a glorified content creator. Just sharing my love for God and Jesus. And honestly, it has changed me. It has made me a much happier person. When I was younger, this kind of joy would have gotten me teased, but now I love it, and I want to share a little bit of my life with you. So if you would like to stick around, I would love that. I have actually taken a little bit of a break from recording. And if you could see where I record, you might understand why. It's not exactly a studio. My husband carved out a small space for me in his work barn, and I love it. It is cozy, it is mine, but it faces the road. So every now and then, a car goes by. The heater kicks on right in the middle of a thought. And I finally decided, you know what? I'm going to try again this spring. That is when I came up with this idea, 10 minutes with tender truths. Because honestly, I don't know about you, but 10 minutes is about my attention span these days before I start thinking about dinner or what I'm going to do next or if I should be on my treadmill. So I was excited. I had this whole plan. I wrote everything out, got myself set up, and I hit record. And let me tell you, I was a little rusty. My throat was not cooperating, and what I thought would be easy was not. And I remember thinking, Lord, this is for you. I can do this. So I kept going. And I was talking. I could hear cars go by. So I would pause. I would let them pass. And I kept on going. And I was just about to finish when I heard it. The door opened, and then bounce, bounce, bounce. The sound of a basketball hitting the pavement, and then the swish of it hitting the rim. And yes, you guessed it, my son decided that was the perfect moment to play basketball. I had to yell, "Hold on! I'm almost done!" And then I started laughing because it hit me. It is funny how life can be so quiet until you hit record. And maybe, just maybe, that is not a coincidence. Maybe it's just a little reminder that life is not perfect and we are not in control of everything. And sometimes we have to just go with it. And as funny as that moment was, it actually made me think about something a little deeper. It is almost like the moment we finally get quiet, everything gets loud. Not just outside with cars going by or a basketball bouncing, but inside too. I do this all the time. I will finally sit down, maybe I have a few minutes, and I think, okay, I'm just going to be still for a second. And then suddenly, I'm thinking about dinner or what I have to do next or something I forgot to take care of. And it's like my mind just does not want to stay in that quiet space. And I started wondering, why is that? Why does it feel so hard sometimes to just be still, even for a few minutes? And I think maybe part of it is because when things get quiet, we actually start to hear what is going on inside of us. The thoughts we have been pushing aside, the things we have not slowed down enough to notice. And maybe that is also where God is trying to meet us. Not in the noise, not in the rush, but in those quiet moments that we do not always stay in very long. And if I am being honest, I do not always sit there long enough. I fill the space. I move on. I distract myself. And yet I wonder how many times He is right there in the quiet, just waiting for me to slow down long enough to notice. And I think that is the part I am still learning, that the quiet is not something to rush through, and it is not something to fill. It is actually something to sit in, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when my mind starts going in 100 different directions. Because maybe that is where something is happening that I cannot see, not in the noise, not in the constant doing, but in the stillness. And I do not always get it right. There are days where I sit down and within seconds I am already reaching for something else. Anything to break that silence. And I think if I am being really honest, sometimes the quiet feels unfamiliar. And anything unfamiliar we tend to move away from. But what if the quiet is not empty? What if it is actually full? Full of something we just do not always slow down enough to notice. And maybe that moment for me with the cars going by and the basketball bouncing, maybe it was just a reminder that life is not going to be perfectly quiet. There will always be something, but that does not mean those quiet moments are not still there. We just have to choose to notice them and stay in them, even if it's only for a little while. So maybe today, if you find a quiet moment, even a small one, do not rush past it. Do not fill it right away. Just sit in it for a second. You might be surprised by what you find there. And maybe it does not have to be perfect. Maybe it's just about noticing it, even in the middle of everything else going on. Even when it's not completely quiet, there are still moments, small ones that we can slow down just enough to be in. And I think I'm still learning that it's not about finding the perfect quiet moment. It is about not missing the ones that are already there, even if they are a little interrupted. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to the next 10 minutes with you.